Hello, Scrappy Peeps! Welcome to my first full YouTube planner walkthrough. So this first book here is a 6-month planner, but I believe January, February, March, April. I only have 4 months in that, and then I have 3 months in this 3-month planner that I will flip through for you. But you can see how the 3-month is probably just as bulky as the 4-month planner there. So it would appear that I need to get another one of these gray albums, because I thought that maybe this gray album was going to house the whole year, but you can see it would appear not. So I'm hoping to leave it in here, and let's get started. So I want to do an intro. I haven't gotten to that yet, largely because I think I'm going to do them all together, so that this book, well, this has year of, so it doesn't have the same thing, but many of you will have seen this on IG. So that was my opening, but I think I want to do an intro, and then it'll be consistent from book to book or album to album. So this is, I do not do these monthly. I just don't, largely because everything is already in the weekly spreads. So May, I stamp the beginning of the month, or the day, the week, and the end of the week, and then with this date, the month. I'm looking for it. I keep it on a block, so I've just finished July. And most of the time I actually do the solid month. You can see that there. Well, that was an outline one. Most of the time I'm doing the solid month. So I just keep that month on the block, and then I replace it. So May 1st is my husband's birthday. So you can see the large 53 subtle in there. And don't ask me what month most of these things come from, because I probably couldn't tell you. I don't remember. But I could tell you what's Stamp Society and what is not. So I just found a loose letter that I'm sticking back in there. So I made this. And there's a tutorial for something similar to this. So this is one of the Color Collective tags, I believe. And then this is a 3x4 pocket card from In a Creative Bubble. And I just literally used my craft knife to cut that arc in it so that that anchors that card down there. These, I believe, these are definitely LE Studio letters, and I'm going to need to glue that down a little bit more. This is acetate that I just literally scored that edge, and then adhered it to the pattern paper underneath, and then put the letters, and that is a pull out there from Stop the Blur. I believe that is actually a printable. So then we have similar, same thing, right? So this is also In a Creative Bubble pocket card, literally, and I just printed small photos, and then that goes underneath there. Stamping, I stamp directly into my pages. I have yet to venture into the vellum. I wish I had had that for some of these bulkier pages. I also don't like that the red shows through, but we'll get there. All right, next one. Again, my consistent thing here, and I did stamp this on sticker paper, and it does stick out, and it's okay. I haven't done anything to, I actually use, I believe this is an anti-static pad, but it puts out some powder, and you can see I've got a little clip on it, and so that takes the stick off. I generally don't put anything in the headers up here by choice. This time I did, I think, just for a little bit more cohesion to this. So a 3x4 card that's just literally anchored down. This was fun. So this is a really old piece of Studio Calico, I believe, acetate that I just scored and then used as a flip so that I had somewhere to journal. Apparently these letters, because of the handledness, for lack of a better word. I'm gonna have to really go in and stick these down. I think part of it too is because I do the Suzanna shuffle, so I stick letters down and I move them, and so they lose their adhesiveness. So anyway, partially adhered so that I can stick that in, but I also have a photo corner here. I use that quite a bit. These white photo corners, they are just generic white photo corners. I think they come from Hobby Lobby. Cut off the top of the tag there. I wish I'd sewn that, but I did not. These are really old, I believe Freckled Fawn, but I may be wrong. Letters. That's from the kit. So then on this page, serves no purpose. I think I had intended to journal underneath there, but never did. This was a day date that Michael and I went on Friday. The journaling I was able to put into, I didn't have enough photos, so I created a collage and put the journaling, just typed the journaling in there. This was probably Saturday, but it doesn't really matter. The stories are told, and those are from one of the Stop the Blur kits. So again, just adhesive underneath this top part there, and then that gives me a slide for that flap there. Mother's Day, and so you can, so I believe I created this myself. It may have, yes, I did, and I did a tutorial. I actually think I created this spread online. So this is, you can see that just kind of locks that in there. Stamping, and then this actually locks down this flip here with more photos and stamps underneath. All right, still in the month of May, and using some of the set sale goodies, as well as you can see the ticket from Stamp Society. So you can see I stitched that so that that locks that down. And again, sticking to my usual, only sometimes I am going to have elements up here. Currently has nothing, but I will get there. I like to have the photos done. The journaling I can always go back and take from my phone where I keep things. So this is my daughter learning how to drive. So there's that element there, but there's also this flip here. This was from the kit, the phone, and their trip. I know I did a tutorial on how to create these doodads. So if you pull, they're locked in there. Same thing, this is just a piece of paper that I intended to journal on. So each one of these has the journaling, and you can see there, that's what stops it from falling out. So I liked that idea of that. This is a tag, and it's not always obvious where you're going to interact, but that's kind of the fun element of this, is not knowing where the interactives are. So that all flips up, and then that comes out. So lots of interactive elements to that there. So this is actually, I'm not entirely sure, but I'm pretty sure this goes, oh, this is a pocket from Set Sail that I've tucked in underneath this tag here. And then this is a flip that just, yeah, flips out there. And then oftentimes if I don't have anything in notes, I like to just do these little decorative pieces here, stamped elements in there. So I have pretty consistently, of course I missed that. This is a Stop the Blur. It's not actually Stop the Blur, it's a Heidi Swapp stamp set, and I pretty consistently used that throughout the month as well. I like to have consistency through my pages. So this was fun. I created the ticket, and then you can see I did the solid and then the outline on the inside, so just a little something different. So this is one of those flaps. It's literally just a flap that's holding this interactive element in there. And that's acetate. So literally, this is like one of the books that Heidi has, and I created one of my own. So her book, it gets larger as you go across. So I had the acetate. I had thought I was going to put letters on there, but I really didn't like it. So that is that, and it's nice and snug, so it doesn't really get, oh, and then there's the vellum at the bottom, so that it actually slides into, the idea is that it slides into the vellum, but I think I need to put something to transition that into there, and if it doesn't actually go in there, it's really not a big deal, because that is at least holding it from sliding out. There we go, that was the intent there. This you can see from the little notches, but it again is not really serving. It's more just interactive, and I like to leave myself room for journaling, because you can see I like to tell a lot of story. So this is Stamp Society stamp set, and with the little brad, and then so that is from Stop the Blur, and then these flip out and tell story for that day. My husband was gone, and so he's back home. That's documenting that excitement. Oh, I think they were in Poland. So this is from one of those little metal dies, and so that tells that story of planting, baking. Generally, if you see a tag top, it means flip it. So that story, and then this just fills in the space there. All right, so we transition from May to June, so you can see I've got both months stamped there. Again, unusual for me, but it's tone on tone, and this is, of course, birthday week. My daughter turned 17, and so you know how these things go. Yeah. So this was Memorial Day, so I was able to get my red, white, and blue in, despite using a different color palette. Just a stapled heart to hold that down, and again a little interactive there, with no journaling. Again, I like to save myself room, and I can always go back and add the journaling if I want. This is a little flip out, and I did a tutorial for this. So this was from the kit, and creating a pocket for that with the little card tucked in. And again, I prepared myself for journaling that I didn't have. I could go ahead and add another photo if I wanted, for that. This is from probably last year, and so I tipped it sideways, put my own little thing, and then I took the tag and I attached photo to that. So then, to delineate the months, I see these things don't always go in smoothly, and I'm sure if what Heidi's done is she uses the little tags and puts them down so that they get a better slide, and I could probably do that, but honestly, there's no need to be quick about it per se. So I stamped June there so that you see that we go from May to June. And then this is her birthday, which is the 1st. So photos of her. There's also a layout of these. So I didn't tell the story here because I told the story there. And this is more just sort of placeholder, I guess, in a way. So the 2nd is another one of these little tip out things. So last day of her junior year, and then I just tucked the photos literally glued inside that, and you can see the story there. This is it's like a little clip, and I just used that as a placeholder to secure that down. This is the story of she wanted skillet cookie when we went out to this dinner, but they didn't have it, so Michael made her one. And then again, just decor, and this is the other half of that, just to tie together the pages there. So you can see that you don't always have to follow the lines for each day. This goes over Wednesday and Thursday, but this is Thursday because this is Wednesday's story. And because I knew I had room, I counted ahead. I skipped pages, which is just as well because the stamping went through a very blue page here. So this is June, and lots of interactives here. Something upset me. I think this is something that happened at work, which is this story there that I'm going to quickly bypass. But this was the good thing here. And then this is news, bad news of a shooting that happened locally. And so that was an interactive. That's the photo, and then this is my reaction to that story there. Yeah, I got to go through these letters and really get them anchored down a little bit better. This is what I get for doing the Suzanna title shuffle and moving things around too much. I'll figure that out. Anyway, so screenshot, and then when you got the phones in the Stop the Blur kit, there were white phones as well as black phones, so that I just put on there. Ellie Studio stamps. These letters, these stamps are from Syncopation Design. There's some great ones for news and the environment. So this was a Heidi technique from one of the classes. This is from Ellie's Studio. I believe this is from Ellie's Studio, that Lock It Down. I made my own ghost star with the, that's an Ellie's Studio die. These are one of my favorite dies. And so you have the 3 different pockets there, and this pocket actually, so this locks this down, right? And then this locks that down, which locks the whole thing down. So her ACT, Stamp Society stamp. So a similar technique to what I did back here, where I just used that. This time I just used the actual circle, and that is what locks that down for cherry picking there. And this is announcing how I made the DLS design team. So not a whole lot that needs to be said about some of these things, so no journaling, but it may also be included in, no, it's not there. June, so different color palette. Not sure that I would normally put pink and red together, but I kind of liked it. And I think her red shirt and my red ATG are what prompted this. So I definitely did a tutorial for this as a reel, so be sure to check out my reels. There's lots of interactive element tutorials there. This is my commentary on Trump, which is why it is still undocumented. And then again, this is actually, you can see it better, today's shit show happening. So from the news, I love that little I love that stamp set. So these were elements that I used on both pages to tie the pages together. So circular photos, and then you lift up and the journaling is underneath there. Tip up with more photos, and this is her first job and her first day of her first job other than training. Golf, and then Father's Day, we went up to DC, so I used another circle. You can see I've got a theme of circles. This will have journaling. I just some things don't need to be public, and that would be one of them. I didn't know that I was going to do this, so just as well. All right, June. So you can see I always stamp the month even though I've got the numbers for the month. This one just happens to be a little different, and I put a little variety into that. So the boys went up to Pennsylvania, and so this is Paper Person, and it was just fun to be able to get a little bit more detail and using that to anchor. You can see that this is going to be a liftable because I've got the notch to fasten it down. I really try and fasten things down when I can. The weather, I don't often comment on the weather, but there's the weather. Here we go with these floating letters again. I think some of this is the bulkiness of the book, right? And so I'm just going to get a little liquid adhesive and I will glue that down. But this is the opening of my daughter's job, and there she is, and there's my son and I checking on her. So this is stitched, 2 photos, and then the journaling for each is underneath. And this is the Titanic sub when that exploded. That's what that's about. So I like to get a little bit of news in there, and various bits and pieces. Sometimes things aren't actually going on in our actual lives, but there are newsworthy elements that I record. So this was new shopping spree, so you can see how I locked that down with that. I use washi often to create hinges. These are not my kids, so I don't want to, that's what, sometimes things are hidden because they are not people that I have permission to actually show. This is my son on a trip to IKEA. And then I know I did a interactive tutorial on this as well. So, and then this is an accordion fold. Fun, I love that. So be sure to check out my reels for that. And again, space holders, not just space holders, but I like white space in them. I feel like these pages are really busy, and the white space just kind of gives you a calm spot in the busy weeks, right? So again, a transition from one month to the other, and I indicated that month beginning here. So this was a lot of this is definitely the kit, and then supplemented with other things. So I like to mix and mingle. These are from forever ago. This was new from the kit, and there's the story, what we were watching, something that we did, videos that I had to watch for DLS. So these are from previous, and instead of the photos this time I put decor on them and then journaling underneath with the photo there. I love this little trick of putting the just tying them with twine. My son went up to DC with his friend, and I got a requisite photo because God forbid he appear in the photo. I took Mia shopping to buy a dress, and we spent forever trying on dresses. So I believe this is actually 2 folders that I turned into 2 pieces. I think they came as a set of 3, and I you can see the seam there. I created my own little lift down there. This is the story of that new raincoats, and then the story of the boys, and then just space holder because life is lovely. July 4th week, and shifted letters. Again, got to do something with that. So I did a tutorial on this as well. So this pulls out. There's another photo underneath there, and then this is a bifold. And I don't know why the story is not in there, but I will put the story in there. I think sometimes I get so excited about just sharing these things with y'all that I forget to actually write the story. So this actually slid in much better, but you can see how if the page is curved, it doesn't slide in so well, but if the page is straight, it slides much, much better than that. So there's that. This is from Heidi. These are her pocket pages. So I think there were actually 8, and I cut it so that I have 6 pockets, and then you can see I created a flap there, and this is stapled to it, so it's actually locking the flap so that that flap doesn't fall out, especially with this downhill slide, right, of the full books. And part of this downhill slide is because I have this first book in here as well. So there's a flap there, nothing underneath though. So you lift that up, and this 5 from the 4th, 5th, the date is what's actually holding that down there. So you have to lift that up to get to these interactives. So that's my son working, and then this is swimming, and this is an Ellie Studio die. I really like this too for my memory keeping. All right, we're getting there, my friends. So this is from one of the kits, and I put this stamp half adhesive to hold the photo in there with the journaling underneath. And then this photo is actually adhered to that. I could actually glue that and you would lift it, but it's not actually folded, so it's more just a addition to the interactive. And I'm not worried about losing that photo because it's actually pretty tight. So this is just adhered through that hole there, small little hole. Made these, so this is cardstock, this is more cardstock, and this is a tag from Stop the Blur. So I just stitched them together, as you can see there, and then you've got the pictures and the journaling. This is from a printable. This is, I believe that is Freckled Fawn. That's the fun stamp. And yeah, again, blank page. Just you kind of need some there's more pages than you need in these books, and so these aren't, you can see we go from the 9th, whoops, that's because that got stuck on something, but so we go from the 9th to the 10th, right? So I'm not actually missing any weeks. I have, knock on wood, been consistent with staying caught up for the most part, other than the past 2 weeks. That's, yeah, we'll get to that later. So everything here is pretty much straight on. This is from the kit, one of the latest kits, and I decided to put the photo on the inside there, and then there's my journaling. And I'll slide those in there. This is from Ellie Studio. It's actually a 3x4 pocket card that I cut down because, and then I cut out the banner with the photo in it. This is another Ellie Studio goodies that has a photo collage underneath, so you can see the washi that's holding that in place. And so I just supplemented with some Stop the Blur stuff. This I did a reel for, teaching you how to take that pocket card, this pocket card, and these elements to lock that down. So that goes back, and yeah, so movie time and tea time, and then National Ice Cream Day with a picture there. All right, if you have any questions about any of these things, definitely leave them in the box down below. So this is another interactive element. You can tell from that little half circle there. This was a swim meet, and those are the results. I don't think I have pictures of her actually swimming then. This is a long tag of collage photos that I just, you can see the seam there. I just glued that there, and then created a little flap that that could have attached to, but I actually needed more room there, and so that was just where I attached. I think it's where my sewing went wonky as I stitched those together, just to give it a little bit more stability. That's what it was. And so that is from Color Collective tag that I stick down. But what I really liked about this is these washies from DLS. So you've got the, so we were driving along the roads to the city. The car is going the wrong way, but that's the way the car went, so I had to go with it. So this I definitely have a tutorial for, tutorial reel. So lots of interactive elements here. So this is a 3x8 card that's tucked into a piece of paper where I just used my X-Acto knife to pull out the notch. And then underneath that is a 3x4 pocket card that will have journaling, some fun stuff, and a photo collage. But then underneath that, you've got these tip outs. How cool is that? Look at all those photos that I was able to get on there. And secure too. College tour, going to the Cincinnati Zoo, and then our trip home. I love these things. All right, moving on. We're nearing the end. Hang in there. So this is a Ellie Studio, one of the new dies. So you can see from this one, this is the large version of this, but I actually folded this up and then stitched it all together so that it created a pocket for the journaling that doesn't exist. I actually want to put his address there, but again, that's not mine to share publicly. I actually had wanted him to fill it out before he went back to school this morning. Not done. It's okay. More photos. And then that was to be for his journaling as well, but not there. So Sweet Magnolias, not a lot of interactive here because I've got two major interactive elements. I did a reel for LE Studio that teaches you how to use, this is a pocket die from LE Studio, and it's got the notch already in it, and so it just tips out and there's more story. And I like the way that we go, it kind of cascades down the page, and then this is a story and the writing, the journaling is on the back. This is sticker paper here. So I actually stamped directly into these really bulky pages. What I do is I have these pieces of foam, and so I actually flip the page. My book is attached in here, but so if, let's just say, oh, I don't have any books around right now, but let's just say that this is the book, right? And so what I do is I flip all of these pages over here, and then I use this clip here to clip that all down, put the foam behind, and then I stamp that way. And you have to be mindful of how the stamp, where you have your stamp on the stamp block, if that makes any sense. So for example, if I had the stamp on this way, this is really hard to do. You can see how that's not touching the page, but if I go this way, then I make sure that I get all of the stamped impression there. So moving along, last day, I just shared this today being Friday, but I'm going to put this up tomorrow, I think. This is the last day of July, which concludes the book. So this is a ghost pocket that is back in stock now, and I oriented the pocket this way because it lines up perfectly with the circle. Open that, and there's the story, and that fits in there. Maybe that fits in there. So what's deceiving is you can see that line there from where it folded over to create the flap, but I need to adhere. I think some of this is the photo. Anyway, yep, that. And then this is locked in there because there's two little, came with one of the kits along with the Stamp Society stamp there. And that wraps up July, but I did put a pocket in at the end of the book, and there's little mementos from the things that we have done. And then the week will continue in August, and so this will be right August 1st, and I think I'm going to put a big August up there for, anyway, you'll see it on IG. So I have my own hashtag. I use SLee Stop the Blur. I've also started Suzanna Lee Memory Planner if you want to follow those hashtags there for more memory planner ideas. Thanks for stopping in today. Come back again soon. Take care.